All right, truck maintenance, all American Locomotive Company, all locomotives. What was it? 19. All right, 1600 horsepower road switcher, 1600 horsepower freight passenger A and B units. Six-wheel, two-motor truck. The description: in addition with the four-wheel trucks, the furnished with the standard 1600 horsepower road switch to the freight passenger A and B units, six wheels, Mr. Two-motor truck that has been applied with these locomotives modification, fuel alteration for the same truck type locomotives presently equipped with the four-wheel trucks. Six-wheel, two-motor truck via Let's do like 125. All right. The six-wheel two-motor trucks is fully equalized with the swing baluster. The swing baluster provided with the 2 1/4 inch lateral movement to each side of the center. In addition, with the center swivel bearing, there are four friction side bearings faced for the with wear plates casting integral within the bolster of the insecure stability. The truck spring system consists of four groups consisting of two outer and two inner helical coils each. All four groups having the inner coil with the near center of the wheel working in the conjunction with the friction snobber. All axle journal boxes are mounted and pedestals cast and integral with the truck frame. Journal boxes may be in the plane of the rolling bearing type of the plane bearing. There is a 1/4 inch total lateral movement on each of the axle with the box addition with 16 dimensions total movement of the boxes in the pedestal. With the rolling bearing, the Tinkin or the SKF, the total lateral total lateral per axle is 1/4 inch obtained with the movement of the boxes and pedestal. The lateral thrust and the plane bearing boxes is taken directly through the axle and stopped in each of the journal boxes. But within the Tinkin SKF, the equipment is through thrust is taken directly from the bearings. No end of the thrust bearing is required. The brakes in the single shoe, one shoe per wheel. The power of the cylinder brackets, hanger brackets are also cast iron with integral with the truck frame. Manually operated slack adjuster provided in order to compensate for the brake shoe wear. Provisions are made for application of the hand brake chain. Remove the axle wheel and box assembly with the motors. To remove the axle wheel box assembly from the truck of the under the frame locomotive, the drop table is necessary. Assume that this equipment is a single table type large enough to handle the complete truck. The use of the such of the table required locomotive to be supported on at jacking pads using equipment when the table is lowered with the removal of the single axle with the wheel box assembly. The truck remains suspended to the safety hooks, and the procedure will be as follows. One, locate the body support under the locomotive jack padding. Check the equalizer the truck frame with the blocking beneath. Remove the pedestal cap of the tie bars. Disconnect the motor leads. Disconnect the traction motor air duct at the motor duct of the road switch for locomotive may be held at working height of the wiring top at the bottom together with the E loop spread with the upper lower plates. Remove the ducts as soon as clearance is permitted. Disconnect the journal box with attachments as the speed record, the speedometer, generators, etc. Remove the sandpiper and pipe at each end of the assembly of each truck. Disconnect the bottom slack adjuster, retract all other provided clearance between the wheels and brake shoes, jack motor nose, and remove the suspension assembly. See items 4 for the disassembly of the trucks. Lower the motor until the motor safety slugs rest on the truck frame suspension brackets. Allow the drop table to settle slowly, keeping the motor nose of the jack pad so that the motor safety lugs will pass the truck frame lugs. Caution: exercise the care of the motor air duct assembly so that it is not damaged. Continue to lower assembly until the freeze of the truck. Reinstall the axle and the wheel in the box assembly. This operation should be performed particularly with the reverse sequence with the removal with the axle assembly resting on the drop table of the motor correctly position the tilt with the nose so that the safety lugs will pass through the frame lugs. Raise the assembly until the safety lugs can again rest on the top of the frame of the lugs. 2. Bolt the air duct boot on the motor. Install with the air easier with the road switcher locomotive if the boot is compressed and retained with the wires through the loops provided. Continue to raise the assembly with the normal position and the pedals will apply with the caps. Reapply the motor nose suspension spring assembly. See the items reassembly of the truck. Reconnect the motor slack adjustment. Reconnect the motor leads. Reconnect the journal box attachments. Check the brake adjustment. Readjust the sander pipe position. Check the lubrication packing assembly of the plane airing boxes. Bolt the air duct of the underframe with the freight passenger locomotives only. Check the box and stop facing with the wearing and assembly of the plane bearing boxes. Removing the equalizer spring from the trucks under the locomotive. The lifting rig of the overhead crane. Remove the pedestal of the tie bars from the both sides of the truck frame under and end of the boxes near the spring being removed. Also from the center of the pedestal, same truck. Release all the brake slack adjusters to completely free the brake shoes. With the sling of the crane attached with the locomotive lugs, raise the cab until the safety hooks have been between the cab and the trucks are engaged. Continue lifting until the weight of the removed from the spring that they are free from the frame of the pocket. D. The coil group nearest to the center of the wheel of each of the truck group is installed and included the snubber may then be lifted clear of the equalizer spring seat. Drop down between the equalizer removed. The coil group nearest to the end of the wheels may be then removed. 2. With jacks, remove the pedestal caps with the item 1 above to release the brake slack adjustment. Place the jacks on the jacking pan on each of the locomotives near the truck with which the springs to be removed. Raise until the frame is clear of the springs. Remove the springs previously described in item 1. Drop the table stationary body support. May be used the following procedure similar to above. Reinstallation of equalizer springs. Remove the reversal of the removal procedure. Note when reinstalling the group of the snubber is always toward the center wheel, the R and the left of the right and the left of each of the truck. Replace the correct thickness for the liner under each of the spring removal. Alright, removal of the truck. Before the complete truck can be removed from beneath the locomotive, it is necessary to relieve the truck or the trucks of the cab weight. This requires either the carrying or a hoist of the jacks to lift the locomotive body. Stationary body is supported used in conjunction with the drop table installation. The jacking lifting diagrams, figure 42 and 43, shown the location at which the unit should be lifted is supported with approximately loads involved. The following precautions should be observed. With the wood blocking should be between the chassis, supported with the points of the jacking pad. Lifting device to lift it should be uniform with both sides of the cab to prevent unnecessary strain with the cab structure. The cab should not be lifted excessively more to the one end than the other until the body swivel castings have become disengaged from the truck swivel bowl or center plate. Before removing the truck, disconnect the safety hooks, one front and the back of the center plate of the bowl. The hook itself is held in place between 2 pins. Remove the large of the hook will then swing clear of the small pin, yet remain attached to the cab. Disconnect the air brake piping, the hose of the brake chain sander to the traction motor. Leave the traction motor at air duct. Freight passenger locomotives only in any truck of the box attachments. If the truck is not dismantled, if the lift required can be reducing the blockage provided with each of the motive with the journal box, pedestal, tie bar, so that the equalizing springs can not raise the truck frame. A truck may then be removed by any one of the 3 different procedures. By a drop table, which requires the use of the stationary body supports lifting and the rig with an overhead crane. By the jacking, lifting the cab of the sufficient amount, disengaging the swivel castings and provided with the clearance above the truck so that they may be moved laterally beneath the locomotive, using the turntable, the transfer table to win, and using the jacks to remove the front of the truck on the freight passenger locomotive. It is necessary to first remove the side ladder below the operating cab door. By jacking and lifting item 2 above, the sufficient to move the trucks longitudinally along the track after raising the cab sufficiently to allow the trucks to pass under the draft gear and pilot steps, ladders, and uncoupling rigging support brackets, and having first been removed. References should be made by the jacking and lifting diagrams in figure 42 and 43 for the details and liftings and loads involved. Disassembly of the truck. Move all the pedestal tie bars. Remove the bottom of the slack adjuster. Retract all the other brake so that the brake shoes are clear of the wheels. Remove the traction air duct from the top of the motors. Remove all the motor's nose suspension springs and as follows. Jack off the jack or lift the motor nose sufficiently to the compressor next approximately 1/2 inch. Remove the cotter. Tighten nuts on the spring holder bolts. Use the split washer to hold the spaces between the nuts and spring holders. Lower the motor so that the nose lugs are free of the spring nest. Move the pin keeper to drop vertical pins. Slide spring nest on the side out sideways. Again, raise the motor nose to provide clearance preparatory. Removing the truck frame and the bolster. Raise the nose sufficient amount so that the truck frame lugs will clear the motor. Safety lugs will frame and the bolster assembly and lifted upward off the axle wheel box assembly. With the frame of the bolster free of the truck removal, upper hangers, pins lifting free of the free bolster. Remove the equalizer springs, unbolt the drop of the spring seat, remove the journal box to prevent the rotation, and the removal of the equalizer. If the trucks are being disassembled over a pit, it's possible to remove the motors without disturbing the rest of the trucks as follows. Remove the suspension spring nest of this item of the forward proceeding. B. Remove the gear case and the dust guard seat, lifting the motor nose, the lifting lugs until the cap of the suspension bears at the bottom. Unbolt the cap of the remove. Exercise great care in handling the suspension bearing is in the 2 halves. One of the half may be removed from the cab, and the other half is removed after the cab is dropped. If it's not removed, restrain the inner half of the lifting motor for the axle so that it will not drop and injure the personnel. Lifting motor clear of the axle. Figure 8 shows the traction motor nose support with the spring holder bolt and the spring holder and the pin keeper, the vertical pins. Alright, your inspection maintenance. The following items should be inspected compared with the figure 9 with the clearance of the wear limbs, vertical, horizontal steel liners of both body, the truck swivel casting, pedestal wearing face of the core signing with the face, the journal housing, side wearing place, the truck bolster, wear plates of the bolt frame and the bolster. Alright, swing link pins, swing link pins and bushing spring hangers, restraint brackets, wear bolts, wear plates, and such as foundation bracket, the brake hangers, equalizing pin and bushing seat of the foundation brakes. When applying new liners, be assured that all the edges around that they contact the the surface of the plane journal bearing of the wedge wear in limits that follows the AR and standard practice of the ISCCR regulation. 4. The roller bearing refer to the manufacturer instruction. Strict lubrication swivel bowl axle bearing plane journal bearing. Check and tighten all the pipe connection. Checking piping inspection of motor nose and spring holders and wear. If necessary, replace the wear plate of the trucks and dismantle with the spring of the remove of the check liners of the spring pockets in badly worn and replace. Check for the wear of the foundation brake equipment and parts, but the excessive wear should be replaced and see the foundation for the traction motor maintenance. Refer to the maintenance instruction booklet, MI 2001 traction motor instruction. All right, this shows your truck pedestal blocks plan. The truck center plate with the safety hooks, your truck bolster, and your truck pedestal box, as long with your swinging hanger pin bushing, truck side bearing, and truck brake hanger restraining pad. All right, wheels. When turning or replacing wheels, the Interstate Commerce Commission requires that the diameter of the wheel same axle shall not vary more than 3/32 of an inch, equal the equivalent approximately 2.5 inch tape. And other recommendation for the wheels not containing the surface of the diameter of the same truck that varies more than 1.5 inch or 12 and 1.5 inch tape. Under the same locomotive of the unit that vary more than 1 inch or 25 times replacing the new wheels. The recommendation for the wheels should not vary more than 1/2 the tape of the same axle, 2 tapes on the same truck, or 14 tapes on the same locomotive. Wheels should be checked periodically with wearing according to the Interstate Commerce Commission regulations. Excessive wear is found with the check to determine if the brake shoes are free with the not binding with the flange of the wheel tread, if the brake hanger levers are hanging of the shoe, not causing the misalignment of the shoe, if the wear of the plates of the hanger lever is also bracketed with the proper clearance and inspection, foundation of brake inspection maintenance, if the sandpipes or otherwise parts for the free non-fouling brake equipment, rigging of the preventing of the normal operation, if the axle lateral is normal and not extensive for the reason with the pedestal liners, excessive end plates, excessive variation of wheel diameter, see by item 1 above. All right, when applying new shoes, the main must hang true when the heads, the nuts of the brake of the head pins should be adjusted with the vibrational shock will not cause the shoe to drag wheel, but still permit the face to shoe to conform the wheel as the wheel progresses. See all the foundation brakes before wheel mounting. See wheel mounting with figure 10 and 11. Figure 10 shows the wheel axis with the axle gear. You're between the hubs, between the tires, journal centers, wheels, dust guard wedge, equalizer adapter, box assembly. All right, figure 11 shows the wheel axle box assembly with the roller bearings. You have your equalizer adapter, wheel journal bases, journal centers, journal between the tires, and your roller bearings. All right, axle gear. The mounting of the axle gear is based on the interference with regardless of the tonnage pressure of the recommended with the interference fits with the files. The bore of the axle gear is 9.991 and 9.991 thousandths of an inch plus 1,000 of an inch or minus 0,000 of an inch diameter axle, 10 inches or plus or minus 1,000 of an inch. For complete axle gear instruction maintenance instruction booklet, MI 2001 truck maintenance, truck motor maintenance. The motor suspension bearings, the diameter axle of the suspension bearings when new, 9 inches or 2,000 plus or minus 2,000 inch axle wears may be determined for the following 3 successful diameters or undersized the race replacement bearings obtained with the 8.938 plus or minus 2,000 inch, 8.785. 2/8,000 of an inch, 8.813, 2,000 inch for the complete axle brake bearing instruction for the maintenance instruction booklet. MI 2001 traction motor maintenance. See the parts bulletin DRP 1317 undersized bearings. All right, your foundation brakes. The manual slack adjuster is initially set to provide with 1/2 the shoe of the new wheels. The brake shoe setting will allow the approximately 3 3/4 of an inch piston travel brake per the brake application. Nuts of the brake of the head pin should be adjusted so that vibrational shocks will not cause the shoe to drag with the wear, but shall permit the face of the shoe to conform to the wheel as the wear progresses. Replace the foundation following the brakes wear. Specify the maximum wear is obtained. Pins and bushings will be worn with a 3/64 inch radial clearance with normal clearance. The new pins bushing 1/64 radial clearance hang low. Equalizing the thickness of the pins 1/8 of an inch, angular to the friction arms of the thickness at the pins of 1/16 of an inch. Brake heads, pull rods, and slack adjusters when each of the jaw members 1/16 of an inch. All right, hangers, equalizer, falcon brackets, and pins supporting the worn with the 1/16th of an inch clevis of the pinholes. Interlocking surface is worn 1/8 of an inch breakhead when facing the radius becomes worn to the extent that the new shoe keys will no longer hold the shoe tightly. Brake shoes will be worn limited to wear mark of identification indicated on the same. Where placed on the hanger level and truck frames and where clearance between them two becomes 3/16 of an inch. Slack adjuster lubrication. Lubricate the threads regular intervals so that all maintain freely operation mechanisms. Reassembly of the truck. Make certain that the axle, wheel, and box assemblies and axles have splined holes in the ends of the use of the drive journal box mounted the equipment such as the speed recorder, speedometer, transition generators, etc. Positioned the same way that they were in when the truck was removed from the locomotive. When the traction motor nose supporting the lugs facing inward space, the wheels, axle, and the motor assembly with 5 foot and 6 inches, the center of the center idling axle, raising the motor nose slightly above the horizontal so that the truck of the frame and the bolster assembly with the clear when dropped into place, blocking the position. 3. Using a crane or suitable sling, place the equalizer on the jerk box, bolt in the spring seat. The initial install the springs. Note the spring nest of the snubbers are always nearest to the center wheels. Replace the correct thickness liners in all springs pockets with all the foundation brakes of the equipment except for the bottom slacker. Just assembled to the truck frame with the bolster installed with the frame lower frame into the position between the equalizer and finally onto the coil springs. Test the bottom slack adjuster attached to the pedestal tie bars. Lower traction motor nose suspension spring nests may be slid into the bolt between the lugs and motor frame. Push the vertical pins in the spring nest at the bottom of the apply with the pin keeper. The truck is not assembled over the pit. It will be necessary to raise the truck in order to insert the suspension pins. All right, note when the spring suspension seats in the position before the further lowering of the motors, back off the nuts and spring holder bolts and remove the split washer until the spring holders are fully expanded between the frame lugs. Then back off the nuts 1/4 of an inch further and insert the cotter. Lower the traction motor nose until the lugs rest in the suspension. Reapply the motor air duct to the bolts. Reapply the loose horizontal liner and the swivel bolt. Reapplication of the truck locomotive. Any of the previous mentioned methods of the truck removal can be employed to reapply in the following sequence. The first swivel bolt with an oil to approximately 1/2 of the horizontal liner. Position the truck under the locomotive cab so that the swivel bolt lines up with the cab center with the plate of the axle. Driven equipment such as the speedometer, generator, speed recorder devices, etc. are corrected. Located. Lower the cab of the truck or raise the truck to the cab, taking the care of the guide to the center plate into the truck, swivel the bolt without jamming. Apply the center plate dust seal with a check and tighten it if it already on the center plate. Reapply the air brake piping, hosing, bolt, traction motor, air duct between boot under the frame, freight passenger locomotive. Only swing safety hooks into the position. Insert pin, connect the handbrake chains, connect the traction motor leads, adjust the brakes, see the foundation brakes, connect any of the journal box attached to the speedometer, generator, speed recorder device, etc. Check lubrication packing of the blade bearings and the journal box. Connect all the sander hoses and adjust the sandpipes at the rail. Move all the tools and rags and blocking equipment that they may be on the truck or the chassis. All right, adjustment of the center plate height. When it becomes necessary to raise the center plate height to compensate with the worn wheels, it may be done as well. 1/2 inch thick liner may be applied in each of the helical spring pocket at the bottom and the top. The 1/2 inch liner may be applied with the truck swivel bolt on a loose horizontal wear plate, which, when this is done, the side bearings and safety hooks must be adjusted accordingly. 1600 horsepower road switcher, 6-wheel, 3-motor truck. Testing.